with a lot of galaxies.
We gotta get everyone out of here! Go, go, go!
Mamma mia!
Imagine playing a Mario game that looks colorful, cheerful, and full of adventure. Now imagine discovering that hidden beneath those bright planets and smiling stars is one of Nintendo's deepest and most emotional stories ever told. Most people remember Super Mario Galaxy for its incredible soundtrack, creative gravity mechanics, and breathtaking worlds. But almost nobody notices the tiny details that Nintendo quietly placed throughout the entire adventure. Some of these secrets are hidden in the background. Others are buried inside the game's dialogue, its level design, and even its ending. A few are so subtle that players spent years uncovering them long after the game was released. Today, we are diving into the hidden side of Super Mario Galaxy. We'll explore secret Easter eggs, forgotten developer details, emotional character moments, mysterious fan theories, and incredible connections that most players completely missed. And trust me, some of these discoveries completely change the way you see this game. Did you know that Rosalina's story is much darker than most players realize? Or that the tiny lumas surrounding her may represent something far more meaningful than simple companions? What about the strange clues suggesting that the universe doesn't simply get saved at the end of the game, but is actually reborn? We'll also uncover hidden references to classic Mario games, secret environmental details that most players run past without noticing, clever tricks Nintendo's developers use to guide players without ever telling them where to go, and visual clues that hint at a much larger cosmic story taking place behind the scenes. The most surprising part is that Nintendo never explains most of these secrets directly. Instead, the developers trusted players to notice tiny details for themselves. That's one of the biggest reasons Super Mario Galaxy is still being analyzed by fans nearly 2 decades after its release. Every time someone revisits the game, they seem to discover something new. By the end of this video, you'll understand why so many fans consider Super Mario Galaxy more than just another platform game. For many players, it's one of Nintendo's greatest storytelling achievements, hidden behind colorful planets, playful music, and an adventure that feels magical on the surface but surprisingly emotional underneath. So get ready to look at Super Mario Galaxy from a completely different perspective. Let's begin with the very first hidden detail, a tiny mechanic that appears within the first few minutes of gameplay, yet quietly demonstrates just how much attention Nintendo paid to every single part of this unforgettable adventure. Now that we've uncovered just how much Nintendo hid beneath the surface of Super Mario Galaxy, it's time to look at the details that most players experience without ever realizing they're there. These aren't giant plot twists or secret levels. They're the tiny design choices that quietly prove just how much care went into every second of the game. The very first hidden detail appears the moment Mario begins walking across his first small planet. At first, it simply feels fun and different. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice that gravity isn't just a gameplay mechanic. It becomes part of the storytelling. Every tiny planet has its own gravitational pull, allowing Mario to run completely upside down or even sideways. Back in 2007, this wasn't just impressive technology. It completely changed how players thought about movement in a platform game. Another detail almost everyone misses is Mario's movement in space. His jumps feel slightly lighter, and his animations subtly change depending on the strength of a planet's gravity. Nintendo didn't have to add these tiny differences, but they did because they wanted every world to feel like a real object floating through space, instead of just another video game level. Now look at the star bits. Most players see them as simple collectibles used to feed hungry lumas or earn extra lives. But if you watch carefully, star bits aren't placed randomly. They gently guide your eyes toward hidden paths, secret platforms, and important objectives, without ever placing giant arrows on the screen. Nintendo teaches players where to explore simply through level design. It's a perfect example of invisible game design, helping the player without making it obvious. Here's another detail that's incredibly easy to miss. Watch Mario's shadow as he moves around different planets, because each planet has its own position relative to nearby stars and light sources. The direction and shape of his shadow often change naturally. It's a tiny visual effect, but it makes every planet feel like a real place existing, in space instead of a flat video. Game environment. The enemies also react to gravity in fascinating ways. Goombas, Koopas, and other creatures don't simply walk in straight lines. They follow the curves of each planet exactly as Mario does. That means every enemy is constantly adjusting to the world's gravitational pull. It's such a subtle animation detail that most players never think about it. Yet it adds an incredible sense of realism. Take a look at the background while you're exploring. Most players stay focused on the platforms directly in front of them. But if you stop for a moment, you'll notice distant galaxies slowly rotating, colorful nebulas drifting through space, and tiny stars twinkling in the distance. None of this affects gameplay. Yet Nintendo filled the sky with movement to create the feeling that you're traveling through a living universe instead of isolated levels. Even the camera is secretly helping you. Throughout the adventure, it gently shifts its angle to reveal important platforms, hidden pathways, and dangerous obstacles before you reach them. Rather than forcing players with obvious hints or flashing indicators, the camera quietly guides your attention exactly where Nintendo wants you to look. Most people never notice it because it feels completely natural. Perhaps the most impressive hidden detail is that nearly every galaxy has its own identity. The music changes, the atmosphere changes, the colors change, the gravity changes, and even the way Mario moves can feel slightly different. Nintendo could have reused the same ideas over and over again, but instead they treated every galaxy as its own miniature world, with its own personality. And this is only the beginning. If Nintendo hid this much detail inside the basic gameplay mechanics, imagine what they hid inside the story itself. In the next section, we'll uncover the Easter eggs, secret references, and hidden connections that link Super Mario Galaxy to the rest of the Mario universe, and some of them have remained unnoticed for years. By this point, it's already clear that Super Mario Galaxy is packed with incredible attention to detail. But Nintendo didn't stop at clever gameplay mechanics. They also filled the game with hidden Easter eggs and subtle references that reward players who pay close attention. Some of these are obvious once you know where to look, while others remained hidden for years after the game's release. One of the first things longtime Mario fans notice is how Super Mario Galaxy constantly pays tribute to the franchise's past, even though the adventure takes Mario farther from the Mushroom Kingdom than ever before. Familiar elements are carefully woven into almost every corner of the game. Classic enemies, iconic sound effects, and recognizable animations all serve as reminders that this is still the same Mario fans have loved for decades. Listen carefully whenever Mario performs certain actions. Some sound effects are updated versions of audio that appeared in much older Mario titles. Rather than replacing everything with completely new sounds, Nintendo chose to preserve pieces of the franchise's history. It's a subtle way of connecting generations of games without drawing attention to it. Another hidden detail appears in the game's music. Composer Koji Kondo and the development team mixed brand new orchestral themes with melodies that quietly echo classic Mario tunes. These familiar musical phrases create a feeling of nostalgia. Even if players don't consciously recognize where they've heard them before, your brain remembers them, making the adventure feel strangely familiar, despite taking place in an entirely new setting. Now let's talk about Luigi. Many players know that Luigi eventually becomes playable, but fewer people realize how cleverly Nintendo builds up his presence before that happens. Throughout the adventure, Luigi occasionally appears in unexpected locations, sometimes needing Mario's help. These moments aren't just fun side missions, they reinforce the relationship between the two brothers and reward players who choose to explore every galaxy instead of rushing through the main story. Then there are the hungry Lumas. At first, they seem like simple characters who endlessly ask for star bits. But if you think about it, they're actually part of a much larger cycle of transformation. After consuming enough star bits, they don't simply disappear, they evolve into entirely new planets, galaxies, or pathways. It's a beautiful gameplay mechanic that quietly reflects one of the game's biggest themes: growth, change, and the creation of new worlds. Nintendo also hides visual storytelling inside Rosalina's observatory. As new power stars are collected, more sections of the observatory come back to life. Lights begin glowing again, machinery starts moving, and areas that once felt empty slowly become filled with energy. Without using lengthy dialogue, the environment itself tells players that hope is returning to the universe. If you stop rushing from mission to mission and simply look around, you'll notice something else. Every dome inside the observatory has its own atmosphere, architecture, and color palette. These aren't random artistic choices. They help each area feel unique while quietly, suggesting that each part of the observatory has its own purpose within Rosalina's journey. Perhaps the most impressive Easter egg isn't something you can collect at all, it's the game's confidence in letting players discover things naturally. Nintendo rarely interrupts the adventure to explain every secret. Instead, they trust curiosity. Hidden paths, optional conversations, distant planets, and tiny environmental clues are left for players to find on their own. That design philosophy is one of the biggest reasons fans continue uncovering new details even today. And yet, all of these Easter eggs lead towards something much bigger. Behind the colorful planets, cheerful music, and charming characters lies a surprisingly emotional story centered on one mysterious figure. In the next chapter, we are going to explore Rosalina's hidden past, a story that many fans consider the most heartbreaking tale Nintendo has ever told. Up to this point, we've explored hidden mechanics, clever Easter eggs, and the incredible level of detail Nintendo built into Super Mario Galaxy. But none of those secrets compare to the emotional story hidden inside one quiet character. While Mario is busy saving Princess Peach, another story is unfolding in the background, a story about loss, hope, and learning to let go. That story belongs to Rosalina. When players first meet Rosalina, she seems calm, wise, and almost mysterious. She speaks softly, watches over the cosmos, and guides Mario through his adventure without asking for recognition. It's easy to assume she's simply another magical character created for this game. But Nintendo slowly reveals that there's much more beneath the surface. The biggest clue comes through Rosalina Storybook, a series of optional bedtime stories that many players completely skipped. If you take the time to read them, you discover the memories of a little girl who once lived on a peaceful world with her family. One day, after the loss of her mother, that little girl set out on a journey to keep a promise. Instead of returning home, she found a lonely baby Luma drifting through space. Rather than leaving it behind, she chose kindness and helped it find its family. That single act of compassion changed her life forever. As more Lumas gathered around her, Rosalina slowly became their protector. Over time, she built the observatory and dedicated herself to caring for these tiny star creatures. Nintendo never presents this as a dramatic cutscene. Instead, the story unfolds gently, allowing players to connect the pieces themselves. One of the most beautiful ideas in Super Mario Galaxy is that family isn't always something you're born into. Rosalina loses part of her old life, but she discovers a new purpose by caring for the Lumas. It's a quiet message about love, healing, and finding hope after heartbreak. That's one reason so many fans remember her long after finishing the game. The Lumas themselves are more than adorable companions. Throughout the adventure, they constantly help others without expecting anything in return. Some transform into planets, others become launch stars, and one even sacrifices itself during the final battle to stop the universe from being destroyed. The game never celebrates that sacrifice with loud music or dramatic speeches. It simply lets the moment speak for itself, making it even more powerful. Another detail that fans often point out is how Rosalina rarely talks about herself. Almost every conversation focuses on protecting the universe or encouraging Mario. That choice makes her feel wise and selfless, but it also hints that she's carrying memories she chooses not to dwell on. Nintendo leaves much of her past unexplained, allowing players to imagine what she has experienced over countless journeys through the stars. Because so much of Rosalina's history is left open to interpretation, fans have created many theories over the years. Some believe she has watched countless universes begin and end. Others think she exists outside the normal flow of time because of the way she speaks about the cosmos. These ideas have never been officially confirmed, but they show how deeply players have connected with her character and how much mystery Nintendo intentionally left behind. By the time the final chapters of the game arrive, Rosalina no longer feels like a side character. She becomes the emotional heart of the entire adventure. Mario may be the hero who defeats Bowser, but Rosalina is the one who reminds players that even after loss, kindness and hope can create something beautiful. And as emotional as her story is, the ending of Super Mario Galaxy raises an even bigger question. What really happened when the universe collapsed into the black hole? Was it simply saved? Or was an entirely new universe born? In the next chapter, we'll examine the ending, the hidden symbolism, and the fan theories that continue to spark debate years later. Everything we've explored so far leads to one unforgettable moment: the ending of Super Mario Galaxy. At first, it looks like a simple final battle between Mario and Bowser. The hero wins, the princess is rescued, and peace returns. But if you watch carefully, that's not what actually happens. As Bowser's massive galaxy begins to collapse, the center of the universe transforms into an enormous black hole. It grows larger and larger, swallowing planets, stars, and everything surrounding it. For a brief moment, it seems impossible that anyone could survive. Mario, Peach, Bowser, the Lumas, everyone appears to be pulled toward complete destruction. Then something extraordinary happens. The Lumas don't run away. Instead, they fly directly into the black hole. One after another, they sacrifice themselves in an attempt to stop the universe from being destroyed. The game doesn't spend time explaining the science behind this moment. Instead, Nintendo presents it as an act of pure hope and selflessness. The Lumas give up their own existence so that everyone else has a chance to live. As the screen fills with light, the black hole begins to transform. Instead of endless destruction, a brand new universe is born. Stars return. Galaxies shine once again. Life continues. It's one of the most emotional endings Nintendo has ever created. Yet it happens with very little dialogue. The visuals and music tell the story better than words ever could. This has led to one of the biggest discussions among fans. Did the universe simply survive? Or was the original universe completely erased and replaced with a new one? Nintendo never gives a direct answer. Rosalina only explains that stars are constantly born. They grow, they fade away, and eventually new stars take their place. Her words suggest that endings are not truly endings, they're the beginning of something new. Another popular fan theory is that the ending represents the real life cycle of stars. In astronomy, massive stars eventually collapse under their own gravity. Some become black holes, while others explode in spectacular supernovas, scattering the material needed to create entirely new stars and planets. Many fans believe Nintendo used this real scientific idea as inspiration for the game's final message. While the game is still a fantasy adventure, this connection gives the ending an even deeper meaning. There's another mystery that players continue debating. After the universe is reborn, Mario, Peach, and even Bowser all return safely. How is that possible? The game never clearly explains it. Some fans believe the characters were recreated as part of the new universe. Others think Rosalina's cosmic powers protected them during the rebirth. These are interesting theories, but it's important to remember that Nintendo has never officially confirmed any of them. Rosalina herself remains one of the greatest mysteries. At the very end, she calmly explains that the cycle of stars will continue forever. She doesn't celebrate the victory like a traditional hero. Instead, she speaks as someone who has witnessed countless beginnings and endings. That quiet confidence has led some fans to speculate that she has experienced this cycle many times before. Again, that's only a fan interpretation, not an official part of the story, but it's one reason her character continues to fascinate players. Perhaps the most powerful message hidden inside Super Mario Galaxy is that change is unavoidable. Worlds end. New worlds begin. Loss is painful, but it can also create hope for something new. Nintendo wrapped that message inside a colorful platform game, allowing younger players to enjoy the adventure while giving older fans a deeper meaning to discover years later. Even after all these hidden details, emotional moments, and fascinating theories, one question still remains. Why do millions of players continue calling Super Mario Galaxy one of the greatest games ever made? In our final chapter, we'll bring everything together and explore the lasting legacy of this incredible adventure and why its hidden secrets continue to inspire fans almost 2 decades later. After uncovering hidden mechanics, secret Easter eggs, Rosalina's heartbreaking story, and the mysterious ending, one question still remains. Why do people continue talking about Super Mario Galaxy almost 20 years after its original release? The answer isn't just that it was a great Mario game. It's that Super Mario Galaxy constantly respected its audience. Nintendo never felt the need to explain every mystery, every symbol, or every emotional moment. Instead, the developers trusted players to explore, to observe, and to discover the deeper meaning on their own. That single design philosophy is one of the biggest reasons the game has aged so well. Think about everything we've uncovered in this video. Tiny gameplay mechanics that most players never noticed. Hidden visual details scattered across distant galaxies. Easter eggs connecting decades of Mario history. Rosalina's emotional storybook. The Luma's incredible sacrifice. The symbolic rebirth of the universe. None of these moments are forced into the player's face. They're waiting quietly for curious fans to find them. That's what separates Super Mario Galaxy from so many other games. Every time you replay it, you notice something new. Maybe it's a small animation you ignored years ago. Maybe it's a line of dialogue that suddenly carries a completely different meaning. Or maybe it's a tiny environmental detail that seemed unimportant until you understood the story behind it. The game keeps rewarding curiosity long after the credits roll. Another reason the game remains so beloved is its incredible balance between simplicity and depth. Younger players can enjoy it as an exciting adventure across colorful planets, while older players often connect with its themes of loss, hope, family, sacrifice, and new beginnings. Very few games manage to tell 2 stories at the same time, one for children and another for adults. But Super Mario Galaxy quietly accomplishes exactly that. That happens or not, Super Mario Galaxy has already earned its place as one of the most influential games Nintendo has ever created. It isn't remembered simply because of nostalgia. It's remembered because it challenged players to think differently, to explore more carefully, and to find beauty in the smallest details. And maybe that's the greatest hidden message of all. The universe of Super Mario Galaxy isn't just filled with stars. It's filled with stories, stories hidden inside tiny animations, quiet conversations, distant planets, and moments that millions of players walk past without ever realizing what they meant. So now it's your turn. Which hidden detail surprised you the most? Was it Rosalina's emotional past, the sacrifice of the Lumas, the symbolism behind the ending, or one of the small gameplay secrets hidden throughout the galaxies? Let me know in the comments, because there are still countless mysteries waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to see more hidden details, Easter eggs, and movie-quality analyses of your favorite games, make sure to subscribe. There are many more secrets hiding in the worlds we thought we already knew. Until next time, keep exploring, because with Nintendo, the biggest secrets are often the ones hiding in plain sight.